I have the Houston Texans going to the Super Bowl this year. That's how well they're playing right now. They're the team that nobody wants to play, and I just think that they have something in their team, which is their defense, that I think is the most consistent unit in football. It's the unit that I don't think anybody wants to deal with, and because of that, the Houston Texans are absolutely a threat. So I want to start this episode off by talking about the Houston Texans. One thing that comes to mind when I think about the Houston Texans, this is the team that is getting hot at the right moment. Now, we know what the Houston Texans are. They are a defensive-led football team. Their defense is outstanding, but I think that their offense is good enough to put enough points on the board that they can beat any team in the AFC. Guys, remember, the Broncos won a Super Bowl with the best defense in the NFL that year, with Peyton Manning, who could barely throw the ball 15 yards down the field. So this idea that CJ Stroud isn't good enough with this team to win a Super Bowl, I completely disagree with that. I think CJ Stroud actually played a very good game yesterday against the Kansas City Chiefs, but I just look at this defense and I say this is going to lead them through the playoffs. They could travel anywhere and win games because of how good their defense is playing right now. It's a very talented unit, but not only is it talented, it's very well coached as well. And because of that, when you look at the AFC, who are you definitively taking over the Houston Texans right now? Do you think it's for sure a certainty that the Broncos, the Patriots, the Bills, any of these teams can definitively beat the Houston Texans? I don't think that that's the case. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go this far. I have the Houston Texans going to the Super Bowl this year. That's how well they're playing right now. They're the team that nobody wants to play, and I just think that they have something in their team, which is their defense, that I think is the most consistent unit in football. It's the unit that I don't think anybody wants to deal with, and because of that, the Houston Texans are absolutely a threat. And I want to talk about CJ Stroud. What I noticed about CJ Stroud in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs, was he perfect? No. But for the very first time in his career, he looked like somebody that didn't have the weight of an organization on his shoulders. And I think that when you look at CJ Stroud as a player, that is going to be a very dangerous thing for the AFC, because as long as CJ Stroud can be really good in spots when it comes to making plays down the field, and he does not turn the football over, this team is going to be so incredibly difficult to beat because they have such a consistent strategy. We're going to hold teams to under 20 points offense. Can you score more than 20 points? And can CJ Stroud lead a unit like the Houston Texans offense to over 20 points a game? There's no doubt in my mind. Yes, he's not the player that he was his rookie season. Okay, I got it. The offensive line has not played well. I got it. But at the same time, you don't need a perfect offense with the defense that they have to go ahead and get to a Super Bowl and potentially win it. Not in the NFL this year, where I don't think that there's a single great team. So that's what I really liked about CJ Stroud in this game against the Kansas City Chiefs. He looked very comfortable, even though he was getting blitzed, and even though the pass rush was getting home and Chris Jones was absolutely fantastic. He looked comfortable because he knew that he did not need to do anything crazy to win this game because of how well that defense is playing. And that is a great sign for the Houston Texans and that organization. And the reason why I just feel so good about this team, I talked about the defense, but it is partially because of the offense. I think the offense can do some things, right? I think that they could do enough to get them to a point where they can win games wherever they go. And when you look at their division, they could win their division. They could be hosting a home playoff game. But then when you look at the places that they would have to go into Denver. That would be a very interesting matchup. And the reason why I say that is because they're two teams that are very similar. Their offenses aren't great, but their defenses are outstanding. So that's why I think that would be a very interesting matchup. And maybe I would go the Broncos way, but I actually think that I would favor the Texans in that matchup. And the reason why is because I just trust CJ Stroud more than I trust Bo Nix. I think that they have a much greater potential of making explosive plays offensively with the Houston Texans than they do with the Denver Broncos, because CJ Stroud can make plays down the field. They have receivers that can make plays down the field. I think they have some weapons here. It's not great. It's not amazing. But again, it's a flawed offense. And when you look at the rest of the AFC, I'm going to continue to say this. Do they have flaws on their team, the Houston Texans? Yes. Name me a perfect team. In the AFC, and let alone not just the NFL, but in the AFC. That's why I say they're an interesting team come playoff time, because they're getting hot at the right time. And I think that that is just such an underrated thing that, I don't think enough people take into consideration. And the reason why I think the Texans could make the Super Bowl this year is because of the fact that when you look at the AFC, what is the AFC fill of this year when it comes to the quarterback position? Young quarterbacks. Look at the two quarterbacks at the top of the conference right now, Bo Nix and Drake May. When it comes to record-wise, you can absolutely dial some things up against those quarterbacks. Drake May's been outstanding this year, no doubt about it. But I think in a playoff atmosphere, when you go up against the type of defense that the Houston Texans have, they can absolutely cause some problems for Drake May. And that's why I just look at this team and I say they're not the most talented when it comes to a whole team perspective. But that defense is so damn good and they're so well coached that I just don't think that there's a team in the AFC at the current moment that's going to be able to consistently move the ball on them, drive in and drive out over the course of a 60-minute game. And because of that, I think their offense is just going to do enough. I mean, it's such a good combination of their pass rush is outstanding. The edges are playing at a really high level. They're good at every level of the field, right? They have a pass rush and they have a secondary that is opportunistic and can get takeaways. And when you can get your offense the ball more, you don't have to have the Dallas Cowboys offense or the Los Angeles Rams offense. You could just have an offense that you feel like can consistently move the ball, and maybe not consistently, but an offense that can put some drives together is what I'll say. Now, am I worried about CJ Stroud in a playoff spot here with this team? I'm not overly worried, just because, again, what I really loved about this Kansas City Chiefs game is that this looks like a guy that does not feel like he has to make plays at every second of the game. He can check down on third down, punt the ball away, and feel confident with his defense. He doesn't have to try and fit the ball into tight windows. He doesn't have to do that anymore. But what I like about CJ Stroud with this team in particular is the fact that he can make the throws that you need a quarterback to make. Can he consistently do it? I think he could get to a point where he can consistently do it, but he can make the throws that I don't think a Bo Nix can make. I think Drake May can make I think Drake May is a better quarterback at the current moment. But do I believe in the Patriots defense as much as I believe in the Texans? No. Again, what team in the AFC do you feel confident saying this is a team that could string together 3 wins and get to a Super Bowl? Or even 2 wins against the top competition when it comes to the Denver Broncos? I don't know. And that's why I say, this is the time of the year that you want to come on if you're a franchise or if you're a football team, right? Yeah, I think that you have to give a lot of credit to D'Amico Ryans. I think you have to give a lot of credit to Nick Casario's. This was a team that looked like it was dead in the water. And why I really am impressed with this team is because CJ Stroud has missed time and they were still able to win games with a backup quarterback. That to me is the most impressive thing about this Texans team. They've been consistent throughout the course of the season with this defense. They're talented. They have big names on there and they're very well coached, and they are as dangerous as they come postseason time.